Iman Gadzhi is the fastest growing YouTuber in finance and self-improvement niche. Throughout the years, he has created his unique, interesting style of editing, and in this series I am showing you how to replicate this style. So welcome to part 3 of how to animate graphics like Iman Gadzhi. In today's video we are going to create two animations.
As a man, your best years really are from the ages of around 26, 28, all the way up until your late 30s. You know, all they can do is just cry and think about how unfair the world is. So cut that crap and be a modern gentleman.
So in After Effects create a new composition, and as you can see in Iman's video, the background in this animation is gray in the middle and dark in the corners. So in order to get this look, we'll create a new solid and add a 4-color gradient to this solid. And now put one of these colors in the middle and change the color to gray. And change the other 3 colors to black and adjust the position of them. Something like that. Let's zoom in and see how it looks. So the background is ready. Now we'll start creating this first line. So with nothing selected, click G to select pen tool and start drawing this shape. Okay, your shape should look something like this. And by the way, I have no idea why it's black in this part, but it doesn't matter because anyway we'll change the color of that. So again, search for 4-color gradient and put it on this new shape. And now change the colors, so this line should be yellow at the bottom and green at the top. So something like this. And the color that you're not using, you can just put far away from the whole line. And now we'll create these 2 circles on this line. So select ellipse tool and while holding shift draw the circle. Now just copy this layer and put it on the other side. It should look like that. I will also adjust our main line a little. Put it lower, like that. Okay, now we'll create this bracket. So with nothing selected, click G and draw a shape of this bracket. Now also remove the fill and add a white stroke. And now also another thing to do is select this layer, this first part of the bracket, go to the right and change the line cap to round. This way the end of this line will be rounded. And now just copy this first part of the bracket, so select the layer and click Ctrl D, right click, go to transform and flip it horizontally. And now adjust the position of this side of the bracket. It looks really good, and so as you can see, before animating anything, we are creating the whole layout of this animation. So right now we'll create all the text layers that will be used in this animation. So right click and create a new text and type pic here. I will be using font Monsterrat with the version black. Of course, set the color to white and now only change the scale. Now we'll create these 2 numbers on the side, so 26 and 38. But one thing with that is that we want to animate every digit individually. So we have to create 4 new text layers and not only 2. So 1 text layer with number 2, 1 text layer with number 6, 1 text layer with number 3 and 1 text layer with number 8. Of course, adjust the scale and the position, so in the end it should look something like this. And now the layout is done, so we can start animating. So firstly we'll animate the main line, so add a trim path to it. And now at the start keyframe the end value, go like 2 seconds ahead and keyframe the end value here. Go to the first keyframe and set the value to 0. And now let's see how it looks. Yeah, it looks really good. Okay, so now we'll animate this circle growing. And as you can see in Iman's animation, the circle begins to grow even before the line touches it. So find a moment in your animation where the line is visible on the screen, but is not touching the circle yet. And now very important thing is you have to put the anchor point in the middle of this circle. So in order to do that, you can use a shortcut Ctrl-Alt-Home. And this will automatically put the anchor point in the middle of the layer that you selected. So right now in this moment keyframe the scale of this circle and go to this moment, so 2 frames after the line touched the circle, and keyframe the scale here again. Go to the first keyframe and set the scale to 0. And now let's preview this. Yep, I think it looks really good. And now basically do the same for the right circle. Now also what I should do to make it look more like an Iman's animation, I will select all of these keyframes, click F9 and go to graph editor. and adjust the handles to create ease out animation so that most of the animation happens at the end. So something like this. Let's see how it looks right now. And now we'll animate both parts of this bracket. So it's nothing complicated, and I will animate that the same way as I animated the main line. So just add a trim path and keyframe the endpoint, and that's it. I will see you back when it's animated. And so this is how the animation looks right now. And now we'll animate the text peak. So as you can see in Iman's animation, firstly the letters are further apart from each other and then they get closer. Okay, so go to the moment in your composition when you want the peak to start appearing. So somewhere here, I would say. Select this layer and click T to open opacity. Keyframe the opacity, and in order to animate the space between these letters, go to the text layer, click on animate and select tracking. Go to the point where you want your text to start appearing and keyframe the tracking amount. Go to the moment where the bracket is created, so here, and keyframe again. Now go to the first set of keyframes and set the tracking to 10, let's say. And now at the start, change the opacity to 0. So let's see how it looks. Okay, so the peak is animated, the lines are animated, and now the only thing that is remaining is to animate the numbers. And so go to the point where the peak is fully animated and the bracket is fully created. And we'll start with animating the 26. And so select 2 and 6 layers and open the position and rotation. Keyframe all of these values in this moment. Go a couple frames ahead and keyframe it again. Go to the first set of keyframes and basically change the position and rotation to something like in Iman's video. Also, another thing I forgot is to keyframe the opacity. Okay, so these are the values that I've set in the first set of my keyframes, so we can just copy them, and now this is how it looks. And so now I will animate the 38 number. I will just repeat what I did with the number 26. Okay, so after animating the 38, we want to create a zoom in effect on the whole composition. So the easiest way to zoom in the whole composition is to select all of these layers, right click and pre-compose them. And now basically change the scale value for the whole composition. So keyframe it at the start, go to like this moment and keyframe it again and just zoom in like that. And also we can adjust the position. So keyframe it in the same moment and change the position so that it's here, let's say. Let's see how it looks right now. Yeah, it's good. So let's move to the second animation right now. We'll start by creating a background. So create a new solid and make it the color of the background in Iman's video. And now create a new solid of a random color, so it can be black because it doesn't really matter. And search for grid and add a grid to this new layer. And now adjust the anchor and corner to make this grid look like in Iman's video. So I would say like that is okay, so we can just copy my options. And now change the color of this grid to this kind of color. Also decrease the border of this grid to 3. And now also in Iman's video this grid is kinda wavy. So in order to create that effect, we'll search for turbulent displays. Put it onto this grid. And now adjust the values. Okay, so I've set amount to 10 and size to 9. I think it looks pretty good. And now we'll add the film dirt effect. And so you have the exact film dirt that I will be using in the description of this video in my Google Drive folder. So import that, change the scale and set the mode to multiply. And now also change the opacity, put it at 20%. Now we'll create the globe in the middle. So with nothing selected, go up here and select the ellipse tool, and while holding shift, draw a shape. And now just place it in the center. Change the color of that to the color from Iman's animation. This is the color that I will use. Now import the world map from the asset folder and resize it. And set the track map to the globe, but also make the globe visible. Increase the scale even more. So I've increased the scale to around 165. Now change the color of this map, so go to effects and presets and search for change to color. And now change the color from this green to the color from Iman's animation. Oh, and one more thing, change the change option to hue, lightness and saturation. I think I will actually increase the scale even more, so to 190%. And now we'll make this globe look better by adding an effect bulge to the world map. And now increase the horizontal radius, so it covers the whole globe. Also change the position if you have to. Basically make it the width of this globe. And now also set the vertical radius to the value that you set horizontal radius to. So in my case it's 324. Okay, I will decrease the scale a little. Now we'll animate this globe. So set keyframes on the start and on 2 seconds mark and change the position on these keyframes. Actually, I will change the rotation to value like -2, and I will also set the final position so that the Africa is in the center. Let's see right now. Also make this animation last 6 seconds. Now it will spin slowly like in Iman's animation. And so the next thing would be to create this grainy effect on this globe. And actually I've came up with 2 methods of how to create this effect. So the first way I will show you right now on this globe, and the second way I will show you later. And so the first way is to create a new shape layer and draw it in the place where you want your grainy effect to appear. So in our case it will be here. Now change the fill color of this new shape to black. Put this layer above everything else and set the track matte to globe. Okay, I will also adjust the position of it. And now search for roughen edges effect. Okay, change the border to some big value. Let's say 115 for now. Change the scale to 10. And you can play with the sharpness. I will set the sharpness to 2. Also now I see that the globe sticks out and the effect is not applied perfectly. So to fix that, select the globe layer and expand it to the bottom and to the right. Also set the color of this grainy effect to kinda orangey color. So something like this I would say, you can copy the code. Decrease the opacity to 50%. Make this color kinda more dark. So like that. Okay, so this is how we create it, but right now, as you can see, it doesn't look exactly like in Iman's video, because our mask that we created shouldn't look like this. It should look more like that. Right now I see I will also increase the scale of the world map a little to 192. So this is the first way of creating this grainy effect, and the second way I will show you on the black character. And now what you want to do is select the top 4 layers, so all the layers that are associated with this globe, and right click on them and pre-compose them. This way you will be able to manage this whole animation more easily. And so now what we want to do is keyframe the position of this globe and make it go a little down. So let's say at 1 second mark, keyframe the position, and then go to 2 seconds and keyframe the position again, and move the whole globe a little down. Also we can change the scale of this globe because it's pretty big. So I will set it to 85. Now the next thing will be to animate this black character. So import this character from the asset folder. And right now we'll create this grainy effect on this character, and we'll use this second method. So select this character and duplicate it. Select the copy that you just created and draw a mask with a pen tool, and draw a mask in the place where you want this grainy effect to appear. So something like this, and make this mask more round by alt clicking on some points. You see, when you alt click on a point, it automatically changes the handles to make it more roundy. So this is how this mask should look. And now use the animation preset Chunky Grain that I gave you in the asset folder and put it on this layer with a mask. Right now you can see it created this grainy effect only on this part where we have our mask. This animation preset basically uses noise HLS, brightness and contrast, and tint effects. And you can control this whole preset from the Chunky Grain panel. And so set the fill color to black and the grain color to the color of the grain from the globe. So you already have this color. And now change the grain size and put it at 0, and increase the grain amount and put it at 200, let's say. And now the best part of this way of creating this grain is that this grain will be animated. And this is not something that is in Iman's animation, this is like a bonus from me, but I think it looks more interesting. Okay, but this effect is not finished. We want to go to the mask and increase the mask feather. So I will set it to 60 pixels. And now also change the position of this mask a little, so that it looks more like that. Also I will increase the brightness. Okay, I made a little mistake because actually we'll set a fill color to the color of this grain and the grain color to black. And now I will increase the brightness and also change the position of this mask a little. Okay, I will also decrease the feather to like 45 and increase the amount to, let's say, 400. Okay, so my mask is ready, my effect is almost ready. As I already said, this grain effect is animated, but it's changing really fast. It's changing 24 times per second. So if you want this grainy effect to change more slowly, you should decrease the value of this grain speed, and so I will set it to 4. Now I will animate this character coming from behind the globe. So go to the first keyframe of the position of the globe, select this first layer, so the layer with the grain, and parent link it to the second character layer. This way, when you move this layer, the grain effect will move with it. And now put both of these character layers behind the globe. Set the position keyframes of this character layer in the same place as the position keyframes of the globe. And in the first keyframe, put this character behind this globe. But as you can see, this character is too big, because even when I hide it behind the globe, his head is visible at the top. So we can fix that by applying a crop effect, crop edges effect to this layer, and basically crop a little part from the bottom of this image. And now it's perfect. When I put it behind this globe, it's not visible anywhere. Go to the second keyframe and animate the position up. And now the next step is to create these two teardrops. And so as you can see, I already created them. I wanted to spare you the time because the way how I did it is I just drew them with a pen tool. So yeah, basically all you have to do is like draw a shape something like this, and then adjust it to make it more narrow at the start and wider at the end. And also to make it more round, you can alt click on the points. And yeah, this is how I did that. And the next thing is to color them, and as you can see I also did that, but I will show you how to do it. So use a 4-color gradient effect applied to the teardrops, and set the anchor point of a start color somewhere here, and set this color to like really dark blue color. I will even make it darker right now, and place the anchor point of the end color somewhere here, and also put the other 2 colors somewhere far away. And now in order to animate them, click G to select the pen tool and start drawing a shape something like the shape of this teardrop. Set the fill to none. Right now increase the stroke to cover the whole teardrop. Set the track matte of the teardrop to this new shape and add a trim path to this shape. And do the same for the other tear. And now select all of these 4 layers, so 2 teardrops and 2 shape layers, and put them behind the globe. And also parent link them to the black character. Okay, now go to the point on timeline where you want the teardrops to start appearing. Select both of these shape layers and keyframe the end. And now go like right here, keyframe the end again. Go to the first keyframe and set the end on both of these shape layers to 0. Also remember to set the line cap on both of these shape layers to be round. So let's preview right now. And now what is remaining is to create this red crossout. And so this is pretty straightforward. Just select the pen tool and draw a line like that. Set the stroke to red color and set the stroke width to some high value. And now also change the line cap to round. Okay, so this is something that I've came up with, and I've set the stroke to 205 pixels, so even bigger. Now I will add this black grain effect using the first method that I showed you. Okay, so this is what I've came up with, and I think it's really similar to what Iman created. And so now what we have to do is animate this crossout. So go to the point on timeline when you want the crossout animation to start, and add a trim path to both parts of this crossout. Go to the point when you want the crossout animation to finish. So let's say like a little more than 1 second, and keyframe the end here. Go to the first keyframe and set the end to 0. Now let's see how it looks. But also another thing Iman did in his video is at the start of this animation, both parts of this crossout have their opacity decreased. So open the opacity option in both of them. Go to the start of this animation, keyframe the opacity, and now go like, let's say 4 frames ahead, and keyframe the opacity again. Go to the first set of keyframes and set the opacity to 0%, and let's preview this right now. Yeah, perfect. Now what we'll do is add a film damage effect, and you have this effect in the asset folder in the description. So just add a film damage, increase the scale, and set the mode to screen, and this way we've added a film damage. So the last thing that I will do, the finishing effect, is to add turbulent displays. So create a new adjustment layer, put it at the top, and search for turbulent displays. Set the amount to 10 and the size to 20. Open the evolution options and alt-click on the stopwatch and type time asterisk 3 here. Because of this expression, this effect will not be static, but it will change with time. And now this animation is finished, and this is also the end of this video, so thank you guys for watching and see you in the next one.